All right, everyone. Good morning. All right, everyone. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we already had our FOMC decision yesterday. Rates were left unchanged. So let's take a look at what we got for today. We've already had a bunch of economic data come out, including core retail sales month over month, which came in as expected. The Empire State Manufacturing Index came in higher than expected at 6.6. Retail sales came in month over month, better than expected at 0.3%. Unemployment claims came in worse than expected at 262K. Philadelphia Manufacturing Index came in as expected at negative 13.7. And import prices came in as expected at negative 0.6. We have the ECB press conference going on right now, which of course that follows up the ECB's monetary policy. So that should have some effect on our markets, not a huge amount. And then we have at 9:15 a.m. Eastern, we'll have industrial production month over month and capacity utilization. At 10 o'clock, we'll have business inventories month over month. Natural gas will be at 10:30 Eastern. That should not have much of an impact. And then that will be it for today. All right, so got a good bit of news that's already been released, and then we'll have some things coming out later. But for the most part, most of the news is already in, so we'll see how the market continues to react. So far, we see a mostly slumping market from yesterday's close. Mostly the NASDAQ is coming down from yesterday's close. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what stocks were moving yesterday. We're just, of course, going to focus on stocks that we were looking at. So one such stock was NVIDIA. That was able to reach target number 2 of 422.93. It almost hit it earlier in the session, but pulled back and then hit it later. And next up, we'll have INTC. Let's pull it up. INTC was able to reach target number 2 of 34.80 and then close substantially higher than that. Next up, we have Next, which was able to reach target number 2 of 7.42 a share, reaching a high of approximately 7.85, I think, or 7.84 before it sold off. And then it came back later. Next up, we have BIDU, which was able to reach target number 1 of 145.89 and get about 3/4 of the way to target number 2 of 148.65, but it didn't reach it. Topped out later in the day at 148.03. Okay, then we had Amazon was a little tough because this one, it almost got to target number 1 going downwards, that is, and then it bounced back up. And then eventually it pushed through target number 1, almost to target number 2. Target number 1 was 125, to the downside was 125.28, and target number 2 to the downside was 123.86, but it never reached that. It went to a low of 124.12. I wouldn't say this was one that we wanted to watch, just pointing out what happened. Similar action on Apple, not really a good trend on that, so that's why we didn't really watch it. Microsoft, however, did have a good run. This was able to get to target number 1 of 337.03. Then it reached a peak of 339.04, which was about 3/4 of the way to target number 2 of 339.73. Okay, Tesla didn't do too much, and I won't even bring it up. Let's look at Netflix. That was able to reach target number 1 of 443.48 and a peak of 447.33, which was about halfway to target number 2. Let's see, next up we've got Roku, which at first was slumping, but then turned around and was able to reach target number 1 to the upside, which was a 75.33, and then it topped out there. WETG was moving in the pre-market. We did not spot this in the pre-market pulse yesterday, which was surprising how it skipped under the radar. But nevertheless, when it opened, it did briefly go up and get halted. And then as soon as it reopened, it sold off. So we never got into it. And that was it. And then lastly, we had Plug Power, which was very bearish. This one was able to reach target number 2 to the downside, which was 1083. So we had some movers, not fantastic ones except for a few, but overall not a bad day as far as opportunities go. So let's look at what's moving pre-market today. All right, so in no particular order, we've got SOFO, SOFO. This one is up 35.78% on 3.9 million shares. That is definitely within the range of activity that we need. So SOFO is now added to our radar, our pre-market list. Next up, we have BNMV. This one's up 23.85% on 4.5 million shares, so we'll add that to our radar as well. BNMV. Next up, we've got AUVI. And that one is up 9.45%, not a huge amount. 4.3 million shares traded, but it still qualifies. Just barely. I'll skip NKLA Nikola because it is moving a bit, but the problem with this is barely at 6% movement, and the range of price movement is very small, so we'll skip that one. Now MRSN is down sharply. It's currently down 57.9%. on 4.7 million shares. That definitely qualifies for our list. And we'll see what happens after the bell, but clearly in trouble. And let's see. Looks like it's down on earnings. No, it's not earnings. It's down on something else. Something about one of his clinical trials, partial hold on one of his clinical trials. This actually might move a lot, so keep an eye on this one in the pre-market. It says it has a partial hold on one of his clinical trials. The market may have overreacted on that news, so this may rebound quite a bit. So we'll see. Let's see here. Tesla is actually down quite a bit in the pre-market. It's not down enough, but just pointing that out. So when the market opens, Tesla's already on our list, so we'll see what happens. But it is down quite a bit, unusually lower. Just pointing it out. That's not one of the stocks we'll add to our list, our pre-market list. So here we have ESPR up 13%, 3.5 million shares. That does qualify, so we'll add that to our radar as well. And we have MVIS. That one up 18%, 2.8 million shares. That definitely qualifies, so we will add that to our radar. And on my list, the last one I see is DFLI. Guess I spelled it wrong. DFLI. There you go. That's up 22.6%, 2.4 million shares. So that definitely qualifies. So we'll add that DFLI to our radar as well. So that's our pre-market list so far. SOFO, BNMV, AUVI, MRSN, ESPR, MVIS, and DFLI. If you guys see any other stocks, NASDAQ listed stocks that meet that criteria, the criteria of at least 1 million shares have traded in the pre-market session today, they have to be at least $1 per share. And we're looking for a price change of at least 6% up or down. So if you have any stocks that meet that criteria, let me know in the chat. I'll go ahead and take a look at it. Anything that meets that criteria, let me know in the chat. And I'll go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, Lil Pete says GREE. Let's take a look. Yes, right on the percent change, but the only problem is not enough volume, only 124,179 shares. So unfortunately, he's not trading enough to get on the list. Percent change is okay. So any other stocks that meet our criteria that are trading at least $1 per share, NASDAQ, of course, NASDAQ stocks, of course, and we need at least 1 million shares traded in the pre-market and a percent change of at least 6%. Any stocks that meet that criteria that you're focusing, let me know in the chat. All right. So we'll wrap up the pre-market pulse for today. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, folks. That keeps us, the YouTube algorithm, liking our feed. Our users, or followers have been growing rapidly, so definitely appreciate that. For those of you who may be watching this and don't know much about our company, be sure to check out fundertrading.com, our website, to learn more about us. You'll see a link in the description. And for everyone who's part of the program, I'll see you in the coaching room in about 18 minutes from now. All right, folks, have a great trading day, and I'll see everyone tomorrow for the pre-market pulse.